By logging in today, you were greeted with a nice 3,000 cubes. So I hope that everybody enjoys that. That's a nice drop. So here's a fun thing about that. That is not actually the compensation that people were expecting or thinking about when it came to the response that we were seeing with the mod over on Discord based on the way that the game has been handled up to this point. No, that actually is part of the 15 million download celebration that the Japanese version is also celebrating. So yes, that does mean the Japanese version of the game also received the memory and 3,000 cubes as well. So no, that wasn't exactly what we thought, but that's kind of interesting. I don't know if we're getting more. I assume it's the same thing though, because they said it would be coming today and that came today. So yeah, that's kind of interesting, but that's not enough anyway to make people not be upset about this, for the record. But yeah, so that's kind of a weird situation we're in. Anyway, we're going to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that like goal of 1,000 likes also for today's like goal. Also, if you really want to help, make sure you hit that thumbs up goal because today's my birthday. So thank you. So let's talk about this a little bit more and how things have been going over the last couple of days. I've been kind of sick, so I haven't been able to make anything. So that's why I've been a little bit absent. So last time around, I did a video talking about how the game was getting review bombed. I think it's got like 10,000 more reviews since then. It's kind of crazy. So the official page is showing two numbers, 1.6, 2.5. And also, because I didn't pull it up last time, the iOS number is at 3.6. So a couple of things are happening here, or have happened here. Apple has removed a lot of the reviews, and people have just flat out not been able to put them in there, because at one point I saw this in the low 2s, and Apple kind of cleaned this up. If you look at the graph, it's still either 1s or 5s, nothing really in between. And some of the reviews are ones that are people complaining about the state of the game, which is fair, right? But they don't really, basically, if it's like a review bomb thing, a lot of times they'll kind of just take them off and get rid of them there. So that's kind of why this number is still kind of high here. Also, something interesting happened on the Google Play Store, where they started kind of, a couple of days ago, I saw it. They started botting these. Yeah, botting. Like by, let me see if I can pull up some recent 5 stars. It's kind of funny. New, and we'll go 5 stars. Look at some of these reviews. It's kind of funny. These are legitimate reviews. Games are fun. My free-to-play account has so much good luck. That's fine. Great game, has great potential. Just one problem is that the formidable foes are strong. That's fine. I don't have them here. I am a human being and I enjoy this game. Okay. that one's too funny. But yeah, they basically, I guess they've kind of been buried down here a little bit, but I did see them where they were like, oh, this is an awesome game. I absolutely love that I'm able to do XYZ and get XYZ. Like, they were very verbatim type of, so I'm not going to dig too much here. I thought they would have been easier to find, but that's one of the main things that I saw over the last couple of days. But regardless, though, this number has fallen because it actually rose back up in a big way. It started to fall again. It rose, I think, to like closer to 4 with that happening. And it's kind of crazy. This game's got 37,000 reviews in a month also. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, so here's the thing. Since all that Discord drama the other day that I talked about, where the mod was on there and he was just talking up like this was coming. And one of the things I said in that video, man, it's going to be 1,000 cubes, or it's going to be 3,000 at best. Like, it's not going to be, 6,000, 12,000, whatever you may be thinking they should give. It's not even going to be a handful of multi-summons for free through tickets. Like, that's not even cubes, it's just tickets, right? It wasn't going to be that either, and it wasn't. In fact, again, technically it was nothing. But yeah, so here's one thing that happened. The head mod over on Discord posted this earlier today. Xanon said, "Hello friends, I need your support for this one. Please unite and react to this message as much as you can if you want me to represent your voice as community for this matter." He apologized to Golden Pony Boy, but it's been constant hours of pleading with these entities today alone. And given the brick wall, what I was forced into, I have no choice but to give this public ultimatum. The game is beautiful and has a lot of potential for it to be great, especially with the anime adaptation nowhere near being fully completed. But the way things are going right now, we're headed towards seriously dark days. You people forget that there are a ton of competitors already existing and will release soon. How many do you think will be willing to cater to their community? There is a massive scarcity in various resources in the game right now, mainly in cubes. You need to provide more ways of obtaining them, or just outright be more generous with them, directly or indirectly. You're driving your player base into the ground, and the mod team is paying the price for it. We need changes to come, and we need to either provide these players with more resources or give them more breathing room for them to be able to keep up. I understand that the game isn't running a charity, but that's a funny statement. But it's not a black hole or pure profit either. Excuse me. I've explained numerous times how to find the middle ground between the two, and it's getting tiring. With that being said, if I don't get acknowledgement and a proper response to this announcement within 24 hours, I will resign from my position as head moderator effective immediately. Stop messing with me. I've had death threats and numerous messages wishing the most horrid things upon me and my family because of the overall incompetence. Get a grip. So first thing I'll say is, if anybody's doing that, stop. Like, that's just not cool, right? That's not okay. Like, I don't know why people think that that's okay. He's not a dev, he's a mod. He's not able to impact change on that degree, right? Don't do that. Don't do that to anybody, even if it was a dev. That's just not cool, right? I understand that you want change, but you can't be threatening people's livelihood, their lives, their family member. You can't. That's just not okay. And it's not okay because you're behind a keyboard. Stop it. All right, moving on. All of this is basically because, like I said before, this game has a serious issue with the rate at which they're releasing characters. And there are also sub issues that are part of that. Like, people say skip the characters. Well, guess what? If they're going to rush all these characters out, you don't have that long to skip and save. If they're going to rush these characters out, you're going to be missing out on certain options that are available to you. Also, there's rushing these characters out, and in the process, they're not running the events. Remember when they were running events and it was like, oh, they've got like 3 or 4 events up, and that's like a lot. We don't have the AP for this. Like, remember that? I'm pretty sure that there was supposed to be an event with the mobile banner release, right? Like, they're I don't know what they're doing with that, but like, that's another thing. Like, are we just gonna flat out miss content because they're running through too much of this at the same time? Like, it's weird, right? So all in all, this is poorly planned, and games that try to do this typically are not successful with it, where they are trying to speed run the game to catch up to the Japanese version. Now, note, it's not been, I don't think, anywhere explicitly stated on any sort of official media that is what they're doing. I think that comes from mods, the Discord mods like Xanon here. I think they said it. And I think also it's pretty apparent that they're doing that because there's no other reason to do what they're doing. So games are not typically successful with this. So, I mean, I have no idea because the reality is that they've got to give more if they're going to do this. People need either more time or more resources. If you're not going to give them time because you're in a rush, you've got to give them more resources. The problem is that the mods have been asking for that, but they're getting stonewalled because the game is not run by Billy. They're just kind of managing it. The game is run by I think some Zap, right? So anyway, the global version is not able to do anything without approval from the actual people that manage the game for the Japanese version. And so if the global team comes to them and says, hey, our player base wants 10,000 cubes, can we give it? The Japanese team is saying no, because our Japanese players are going to see that and get mad, right? That's basically what's happening. So that's why it's really hard for them to give us anything extra. But to me, I think that's bullshit. I do. I think it's bullshit. If a problem is present on a version of the game, then you compensate for it, right? That just makes the most sense. If you're gonna, who cares what the other version thinks? Like, that's a common thing. If you're gonna release it, you have to have considered that when you thought up this plan to release this version and do this. And it's not so simple as to say, oh, everyone should just go play the Japanese version. Just leave this version if you don't like the way it's being run, blah, 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 blah. While that's an option, that doesn't solve the issue, right? Doesn't solve anything. Because I've seen that too. So all in all, like, I think they're in a weird situation with trying to develop this game, but it's weird because they're not able to really do anything. So we're now in a position where they have released all this stuff. By the way, I didn't do a video on this because it came out of a couple of days I was sick. there was confirmation that, you know, Teen Gojo, Hidden Inventory, all the Toji, that stuff is not coming at the end of this month. Like, people were starting to speculate. It was pretty funny. It was like, these are 6-month characters, but who knows this game, man. But they may come out next month, at the end of next month. Who knows? I would be on red alert for that, just because they could drop whenever they want. And if the game starts losing a lot more players, or starts dipping heavy in revenue, maybe they'll just drop those to try to get people to come back. Like, I don't know what the plan is. So that's another thing, but that was confirmed, excuse me. But I wanted to, speaking of revenue, kind of shoot over to some of the Sensor Tower numbers for November, right? So here's how things look for November. I'm not sure if this is the both versions combined, but I'm gonna treat it like it's just global, because I think that probably is what this is, because I think some of these numbers for some of these other games would be higher. Anyway, so they're in here at 21. Number 21 in terms of revenue, excuse me, at 7 million total. That's pretty big. Being the number 21, you know, most successful game for the month. That's not terrible. It's a very, very saturated market with a lot of games. And that's not bad. Now, the thing is I'm pretty sure that if we look back at this for December next month, right? I'm pretty sure if we look back at this, it's going to be low. Like, it's not going to be here. I don't know how low. It's probably going to be closer to like 40, where it's like 1 million, something like that. Because part of the reason too is that, like, there's not really like, with this game, it's kind of weird. Like, you can summon more, right? But there's not a huge incentive to summon beyond having 2 dupes in a character or something like that. Like, for the stat bonuses, like, it's not a crazy incentive. Like, you genuinely don't even need dupes, to be honest with you. You kind of want it for the cursed energy, extra stats, but you don't need dupes in this game. So it's just a weird game. And also, it's a single player game. They're not even bringing out content relative to some of these characters. Like I said, I don't know. Like, Tower is there, and that's the main reason you want some of these characters, but that's kind of it. Like, I don't know. So unless you're just going for collection purposes, I don't know that this is a game you need to really spend a lot of money on, to be honest with you, because it just doesn't have the content to supplement it. But I wanted to look at this because this is funny. I really enjoyed One Punch Man, but oh my god, Crunchyroll, like, this game might as well shut down. Like, seriously, it might as well. And I don't mean that, like, for the people that the 2 people watching my video that enjoyed this game. I didn't actually have a problem with it. It just didn't have anything to do after a certain point. It was very monotonous. Like, all gacha games are monotonous, but you get my point. It and Black Clover Mobile being down here as high as popular IPs of anime series is kind of sad. And Black Clover has been in the anniversary, right? That's kind of crazy. Yeah, but One Punch Man, my god, I don't think this game will ever get to that point, but it's crazy that it's even dealing with what it's dealing with. So, all in all, guys, I can't even hardly talk. All in all, guys, I don't really know what to tell you. I hopefully. So here's what you're hoping for. You're hoping for the resolution to be the Japanese devs. I think SumZap. I'll just say that you're hoping for SumZap to get a pulse on the state of this game in the global market and say, okay, we're gonna fix this. I think they kind of thought about that a little bit, which is why they did that 15 million thing and wanted to put the game out, or excuse me, wanted to put out those rewards that are tied to the 15 million thing. But unless it was like 10,000 plus, I don't think people really cared. Like 3,000 is, I have no problem with that, but it's just not enough to get this back up. Considering, and I think what it is also is considering the fact that they're not going to change anything. That's the big thing. They're not going to just all of a sudden stop or slow down. They're not going to change anything. So that's my thing too, is when I was talking about like compensation, I was like, you're going to get a one-time shut up payment, right? Like that's basically what they're going to do. What they're trying to do. 3,000 isn't that, right? And it's also kind of weird because like you said, they're not running a charity, of course, but sure, I guess. But like, you'd also want to You know, you also want to make your players feel like they're enjoying this game and like they're worth something to you. Like this version of the game is just so weird, and it's so unfortunate. I do, for the record, think that people should be considering going to the Japanese version, especially once you learn how to play the game on the global version. Use it as your test ground so you don't need as many translations. There are good sites for character translations if you need that. But I do think people should try to go to the Japanese version. And one last thing on the Japanese version. Well, part of the reason why is because it's also the anniversary, by the way. But one last thing on the Japanese version is that it's never truly been a game that's generated a ton of revenue. It started off extremely hot on release and with JJK Zero movie and all that stuff, but it's had a lot of months where it just kind of is, middle of the ground. They don't really do a ton over there sometimes on the Japanese version. They are not super generous on the Japanese version either as a result. So I think this game's going to always kind of be a game that they have, I don't want to say low expectations for, but they're not like, we got to hit top grossing right now. We got to do this. We got to do, like, I don't think that that's what this game kind of is. Especially not with the anime airing right now. If the anime was running right now, then maybe. But yeah. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. I can't talk. Hit that thumbs up, like I said, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts down below.